morning, students. Welcome once again to the lesson Scientific Inquiry Skills. Now, this is session 5 of Unit 3. So, we move to the objectives of the lesson. Now, in this lesson, we want to know how interpretation is done and how to interpret. So, my objective for this lesson is at the end of the session, you, the student, you should be able to interpret biology learning activity and then present pertinent and precise report on biology project, and also use scientific methods in reporting biology project. So we first get to know what predictions are about. Prediction. So interpretation is the ability to evaluate data in terms of its worth, good, bad, reliable, unreliable, etc. How are you going to evaluate the data in terms of its worth? Okay, so you have to make inferences and predictions from written or graphical data, extrapolate and derive conclusions. So you make inferences and predictions from written or graphical data, you extrapolate, and then you derive your conclusions from the data. So interpretation is information handling. How do you handle information? Okay, how do you interpret the data you have? So the biology activity given to biology students involves helping them communicate clearly and carefully what each has to say. So when we give you an activity, we try to ensure how you guys will communicate effectively. Now we give you an activity to perform. Each and every one of you is working individually. But then after that, those assessors, will get to know how each and every one of you is communicating effectively based on the report you have submitted to the assessors. So we are saying that the task of interpretation requires students to define and clarify themes. Okay, how do you clarify themes? How do you define the themes? So I'm saying that the first element of ethical analysis is to establish clearly the meaning of key terms and to use those terms with consistent meaning throughout the process of justification. So you justify why you are saying this is that, why this is not that. So you have to be able to justify. And also data collected from a field could be analyzed and interpreted by graphic data or retrieving or using or comparing the data from other investigations. Okay, you can interpret the data graphically, okay, or you retrieve the data and you compare the data with other investigations. So interpretation is known as information handling. So we move to the next one. Recording. Now recording is draw or make graphical representations boldly and clearly. So when you are interpreting, the first one is you predict, okay, and that prediction, how do you go about it? And then we are at recording. So recording is a draw or make graphical representations boldly and clearly, well labeled and pertinent to the issues at hand. So when you are presenting something, the graphical representations, you are recording it in a graphical form. It should be clear and well labeled. The students collect and record data to judge their precisions and then accuracy. So when you collect the data is guiding, is helping you to judge or report information on what you have gathered. You report based on the data you have gathered on students or on a field work or any other activity. So the records should be systematically taken. Students should take notes and record data during demonstration, and then have them write a summary of the biology practical demonstration. So whilst you are demonstrating or whilst your teacher is demonstrating, you record the data, okay, you write a summary of the practical or the demonstration which went on by your teacher, or the practicals you are conducting, you write a report, you record, and then you summarize. All these things falls under recording. And we are saying the teacher must stress application of scientific principles. So in recording, there should be kind of principles you have to stress on. So you, the teacher, you stress on certain things you expect students to do. And these things follow the scientific principles of recording. So the next one is reporting. Reporting. Students should be able to present pertinent and precise reports. Should be able to present pertinent and precise reports on projects they undertake. On projects they undertake. So reports, oral or written, should be concise, clear, and accurate. Sometimes when students are reporting on a particular field work or a project, it's not concise, and you see repetitions in the reporting, and it's not clear, it's not accurate. You don't get the head and tail of the whole report students have submitted. So sometimes you, the teacher, you have to go through carefully in order to know the head and tail of such a report. So you teachers, you have to train your students on how to report a project or an activity or a field work or a practical or an experiment. The biology students write a report on biology projects by following the scientific methods of solving scientific problems. So in scientific solving problem or in scientific way of solving problem or scientific method of solving the problem, you have to follow these steps. First, you identify the problem. When COVID-19 came, scientists identified the problem, they formulated their hypothesis, and then they experimented, and then they collected data, and then they analyzed it, then they synthesize from the data analyzed, and then they draw their conclusions. So this is a scientific report, the scientific method you have to follow in solving scientific problems. So we've gone through a lot in this session. We've learned about how production is done, what goes into production. We've learned about recording, what goes into recording, and then reporting, what goes into reporting. So we have to review what we've learned. So I want you students to answer these questions. Question number 1. What is interpretation in biology teaching and learning? Question number 2. Why do biology students collect and record their data? Question number 3. Explain scientific method. When we say scientific method, what does it mean? So I believe when you find answers to these questions, I believe you have covered the session.